Okay, you should be good to go, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, good afternoon, members of the public, staff, and council, and welcome to this special council meeting of the Township of South Glengarry, Thursday, December the 9th. Can I have somebody call the meeting to order? Moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Martin Lang. Be it resolved that the December 9th, 2020 special council meeting be opened at 4:32 p.m. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Madam Clerk, I did make a mistake on that. So would you mind changing it to Sam and Martin?
Yep.
For the record, thank you. My apologies. Can I have someone move to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Martin Lang. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, new business. 4A, staff reports. I'll hand that over to you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So as council is aware, on Monday, December the 6th, we received a written resignation from Mayor Frank Prevost, who has been on an unpaid leave of absence since June of this year. So pursuant to the Municipal Act, when we have a resignation of a member of council, council must declare that seat or office vacant before we move forward with filling the vacancy. So our first staff report and resolution that's before you this evening is simply to declare the mayor's office vacant pursuant to the Municipal Act.
Okay, thank you very much. Pretty straightforward. Are there any questions or comments of members of council? Seeing none, moved by Martin Lang, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Whereas the Council of the Township of South Glengarry has received written resignation of one of its members, and whereas pursuant to section 262 of the Municipal Act, council shall declare the seat vacant. And whereas a report will be presented to council at the special meeting on December 9th, outlining the options on how to fill the vacancy. Now therefore be it resolved that Council of the Township of South Glengarry now declare the office of mayor vacant. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. So moving on to the next staff report, 168-2021. Back to you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and through you. So now that council has declared the office of mayor vacant, the next step in the process is to fill that vacancy. So I have just a brief presentation to go over some of the options available to council to fill the vacancy for the position of mayor. So if you'll just bear with me a moment, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll get right into it. Okay, so the mayor's office has been declared vacant. So what happens next? Pursuant to the Municipal Act, council has 60 days to make one of these two choices. You can either appoint a person to fill the vacancy who has consented to accept the office, or you can pass a bylaw requiring that a by-election be held. So that leaves you essentially with 3 options. The first being to hold a by-election, and the election would be simply for the office of mayor. The second option is to appoint a current council member. So that would be one of the 4 of you. And the third option is to appoint another eligible person. So with option A being the by-election, the process would follow a similar process to that of a regular election, except for it would only be for the mayor's position and not for all positions on council. So a by-election would likely be considered one of the more democratic options, but it's also the highest cost. And it would end up costing about approximately $25,500. That would be for the e-voting software and distribution of voters' letters alone. And that doesn't account for the amount of staff time and resources that would be involved in in a by-election. In terms of a timeline, you would be looking at about a 3-month process with a by-election, and that's if we go with the shortest possible time frame. So, there's areas where it could be longer than 3 months, but if we did it as fast as possible, it would be about 3. So the first step would be declaring the seat vacant today. Next would be to pass a bylaw requiring the by-election at our next meeting, followed by nomination day 30 days after that, voting day 40 days after that, getting us into March 7th, and we would be looking at about March 21st for the appointment of the mayor-elect. So option B, which is the option where you would appoint an existing member of council. So any current member of council can be nominated to the position of mayor by way of a motion. If a current member is appointed, their seat would then be declared vacant and the process would be repeated. So essentially, if one of yourselves are appointed mayor, we would declare your seat vacant, and then we would go through these options again, and you would decide how you want to fill that new vacancy. And the third option is to appoint another eligible person. So you can appoint anybody who's not a current member of council. However, they must consent to be appointed, and they must be an eligible voter in the township of South Glengarry. You can appoint someone of your choosing, or you can invite expressions of interest and go through it more of a similar process as you would for filling a job vacancy. If council proceeds with option B or C, which would be an appointment, you have to make that appointment within 60 days of the seat being declared vacant. And there would be essentially little to no cost with an appointment. If you appoint someone who's currently on council, there's no cost to that. And if we went to expressions of interest from someone from the community, we'd be looking at minimal advertising costs, and that would be about it. So those are the options that are available to council, and this would be to fill the position of mayor that's now been declared vacant. And so subject to any of your questions, those are the options before you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kelly, for that detailed report. I'll go to Councillor McDonnell, Councillor Lang, and Councillor Jaworski in the order that their hands were raised.
Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, just to clarify, Ms. Compo, that the 25,500, that doesn't include any staff time, and that would only give us, you said it would only give us the e-voting, so we wouldn't even have the phone or in person on that.
So the 25,500 would be for internet and telephone voting. Okay. So that would be the cost to have that software available. It does not take into account the amount of staff time and resources that would be utilized in that 3.5 month period.
So we'd be realistically looking at probably more like 32 in actual costs by the time staff time minimum, by the time staff time was accounted for that, and probably reduced service based on you'd be called away to maintain an election for 3 months as well as a nomination. Realistically in that range. Okay, no, just I guess a comment and point I wanted to make. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and through you. I'm not keen on the election. I don't like the idea of the cost. And if we were in the first 2 years of the term, I can see, but we're in the final year of the term. By the time the person is appointed, there's going to be likely about 7 months left of the term to spend the money to do that, and then have to, by the time they're appointed, we're only a couple of months from people declaring whether they're going to run for the next one. So my personal thought is that we take one of the other options, and I'm going to lead towards, I forget, they're not up on the screen at the moment, but I'm going to lead towards that we pick a mayor from within council, someone that has already been voted by the public. So it's a fairly responsible job. And I think that that way we're taking somebody who has been on council already, that the public's already voted for, and we replace a councillor with, one of the other options, either B or C. That's my thoughts at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Lang. Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor Warden. Thank you, Ms. Campo, for your staff report and your presentation. I mean, we have been in a situation of some uncertainty for the past little while, so I appreciate you putting this staff report together very quickly so that we can have the information we need to move forward as quickly as we can. So speaking of moving forward, I'm like Councillor Lang, I'm not in favor of having an election to fill the role of mayor, considering the costs, the upfront costs, and then the staff time, and the timeline as well to execute the process. I mean, as has been said, that means that person would only hold office for 7 months, which, considering the cost, it just doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, those are the objective measures, of the situation, I think. But beyond those objective measures, I think, we've been moving many files forward. We've been making, I think, real progress against our strategic plan. So I don't think it makes sense to bring in someone who hasn't been part of council for the last 3 years, to lead council and to speak essentially for the township. So I think that Deputy Mayor Warden has done an excellent job stepping in so far, and I think formalizing that arrangement is in the best interest of the township and is the most responsible course as well. So I think that would be option B, is what I would be in favor of at this moment.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Lang.
Just for clarification, if we decide to move forward with this, do we have to pass a resolution that this is the route we're going to go, and then we decide how, who we're going to pick and how we're going to do that, or are we doing that now? This is a question for your Madam Clerk.
Yep.
Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So with the staff report that was provided to you, the resolution included with that staff report was for council to select one of the 3 options presented. So I would recommend, if council is prepared to make that decision tonight, to pass that resolution. If council is leaning towards appointing a current member, which it sounds like that's the direction you might be headed. As Councillor Jaworski pointed out, we've had quite a bit of time that's elapsed since we've been in this position of uncertainty. So I do have some draft resolutions prepared today in the event that council did want to go ahead and appoint amongst yourselves today. So if that's something you were prepared to do this afternoon, I can have those. I do have some draft resolutions just where I can fill in names if someone's name is put forward. So I think you could, if that's the direction you're leaning in, you could do that tonight, but I'd recommend passing the first resolution first to select the option.
I would like to see us pass resolution B then, to appoint from within, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, are there any other, Councillor McDonnell, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say, if that was I was wondering the same thing as Councillor Lang. So in that case, I would second Councillor Lang's motion to go to a format of selecting within the council as it stands.
Okay, so I have a pre-written resolution that will be moved by Councillor Jaworski and seconded by yourself, Councillor McDonnell. Is there any other discussion on the matter, or are we good to go ahead with option B, appoint a current member of council?
I'm good.
Seeing, yep, all right. So I'll finish reading reread the resolution. Moved by Stephanie Jaworski, seconded by Sam McDonnell. Be it resolved that staff report 168-2021 be received, and that council proceed with option B and appoint a current member of council to the office of mayor. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. So, Madam Clerk, I'll lean on you for next steps on how we should fill that vacancy.
For sure. So, so council has now voted to appoint the office of mayor from its current members. So what I would recommend is if somebody would like to put their name forward for nomination, or if somebody would like to nominate another member, to do so. If we have a mover and seconder, you can vote on that. And I do have a resolution prepared. I can just add a name to it.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and through you. We've had some time to experience your leadership in the last few months, six months, I guess. And I think council's been very happy. And so I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Lyle Warden as our new mayor.
Thank you very much for those words. Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I would agree with Councillor Lang that the work you've done stepping in as the acting mayor over the last 6 months has been good. Very impressed with how you've handled it, and it's been a challenge for every member of council, but especially for yourself as far as taking on some of the roles that go along with the agendas and things such as that, and holding the meetings, chairing them. So I'd be happy to second that motion as well.
I thank you for those kind words. So, Madam Clerk, we have a mover and a seconder. Would you mind reading the resolution?
Okay, before I do that, I do need to confirm, Mr. Deputy Mayor, do you consent to being appointed?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm just going to update this. Okay, so I have a resolution. I will read it. Moved by Martin Lang, seconded by Sam McDonnell. Be it resolved that Lyle Warden be appointed to the office of mayor pursuant to section 263 1A of the Municipal Act.
Okay, you all heard the resolution. Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you all very much for your confidence. So now, with that passed, Madam Clerk, there'll be a motion to declare the office of Deputy Mayor vacant. Is that correct?
Yes, so now that you have been appointed to the office of mayor, I would suggest we just repeat the steps we just went through. So we can pass a resolution to declare the deputy mayor's office vacant, at which point, if you'd like to have a discussion as to how you want to proceed with that, we can take it from there.
So at this time, we should just pass the resolution to declare it vacant, and then the next resolution will be the discussion, correct?
Sure, yeah, we can do
Okay,
it. Yeah,
so
I would suggest doing that. So I have a resolution prepared. Okay. I would just require a mover and a seconder.
moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Councillor Lang.
Okay. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Councillor Lang. Whereas the Council of the Township of South Glengarry declared the office of, Whereas the Council of the Township of South Glengarry declared the office of mayor vacant, and whereas the council filled the vacancy by appointing one of its members pursuant to section 263 1A of the Municipal Act, and whereas the office of deputy mayor is now vacant as a result of the appointment, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry now declare the office of deputy mayor vacant.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. So moving on to the next resolution, I guess. Do we have a discussion now, Madam Clerk, or do you want to read the resolution and then go into it?
Well, I don't have a resolution at this point because I'm not sure which direction council would like.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, thank you. So basically, it'll be the same options that we had for replacing the mayor's chair. So option A would be hold a by-election. Option B would be to appoint amongst the current members of council. And option C would be appoint a person who has consented to accept the office. Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Given again that we've learned over the last 6 months how important it is to have a good deputy mayor in place in a situation such as what we've gone through or something similar, I think it's only fitting that we follow the same process and we keep we appoint within our existing council, as Councillor Jaworski had stated before. I feel it's a high enough position that it should be filled by somebody already elected to this council and somebody who's been involved in our strategic planning and all we've gone through in the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you, Councillor McDonnell. Councillor Lang, did you have your hand up? Or
Yes.
you do now?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll have to get used to that, eh?
Yep.
And through you, I agree with Mr. McDonnell. I think this is the logical next step. I think we go through this one, and then I think the decision is going to be the next step after that is how we replace the councillor. That's what I'm hoping is to happen.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the resolution before us? So basically, it's the same as the other resolution, Madam Clerk. So
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor.
yeah.
So is there, what I'm hearing is council would like to appoint between its current members for the position of deputy mayor. So we don't quite have a resolution before us just yet, unless there's someone who wants to put their name forward for nomination or someone who wants someone forward.
Point of order, I guess.
Oh.
We need to declare what we want to do with that position. So I was just going to reread the other one, option B. So I'll move it by Councillor McDonnell and second it by Councillor Lang because they put their hands up.
Yep, my apologies.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm getting ahead of you.
That's okay. Yeah, that's no worries. So I don't know what staff report it will be. It will be 169-2021. Just because I'm able to read the resolution as it was printed. Being resolved that staff report be received and that council proceed with option B and appoint a current member of council to the office of deputy mayor.
Does there need to be a staff report to every motion? Could it not just be a standing motion on the table?
You could start the resolution, Mr. Mayor, be it resolved that the council select, like you could take the staff report part out.
Okay.
Because I don't have a report associated with this one.
All right, so this is how it'll go. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Councillor Lang. Be it resolved that council proceed with option B and appoint a current member of council to the office of deputy mayor. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now back to you. This is kind of like Groundhog Day.
Well, back to me.
Yes, yeah, for the resolution to appoint a deputy mayor.
So if council's prepared to appoint a deputy mayor this evening, I would just need a nomination.
Okay, Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as Councillor Jaworski's been our alternate at the county's council, and that's I would say the highest priority for the council or this council, in my opinion, would be to continue with that. And I would, if Councillor Jaworski's willing to accept, I would be happy to nominate her.
Okay, Councillor Lang.
I'm going to second that. I think Councillor Jaworski's done an excellent job. She's quite involved at county council now. She's been in the thick of it for 6 months, and I would like to see her continue the rest of this term. So I'll second that motion.
Okay, perfect. So,
Councillor Jaworski, do you consent to that nomination?
Yes, I do. As county alternate, at the beginning of the term, I didn't foresee a situation like this, but I do appreciate my co-councilor's vote of support. It has been very rewarding to be at the county table for the past 6 months, and I really appreciate the opportunity to finish off that term on important files, in particular one that's very near and dear to my heart, because I don't foresee the opportunity to be back there again for quite some time. So I do appreciate the opportunity to finish off this term. Thank you.
thank you very much. So I guess we're ready to vote on that. I'll allow, could I ask you to read the resolution, Madam Clerk?
Yes, so moved by Sam McDonnell, seconded by Martin Lang. Be it resolved that Stephanie Jaworski be appointed to the office of Deputy Mayor pursuant to section 2631A of the Municipal Act.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Madame Deputy Mayor. Okay, this is good. Moving forward. So now that Deputy Mayor Jaworski's seat has been vacated, we go back and repeat that process again, correct?
Correct. So I do have one more resolution to declare the councillor seat vacant. If I could have a mover and seconder, I can read that for you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Moved by Councillor McDonnell, second by Councillor Jaworski.
Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor McDonnell, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaworski. Whereas the Council of the Township of South Glengarry declared the office of Deputy Mayor vacant, and whereas Council filled the vacancy by appointing one of its members pursuant to Section 263(1)(a) of the Municipal Act, and whereas the office of Councillor is now vacant as a result of the appointment, now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry now declare one of its offices of councillor vacant.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much. So basically, we're back to the point where we're back at options A, B, and C again. And I'm wondering if there's a bit of a discussion that wants to be had now. Councillor McDonnell.
For you, Mr. Mayor, at this point, I'm given everything we said, I guess I'll just reiterate it all so we don't have to do it again. But I don't feel at this point it makes logical sense or financial sense for us to hold a by-election at the cost of over 25 grand. I think it'd be a waste of taxpayer dollars at this point. I know, however, it is the most democratic way for roughly 7 months, and part of those 7 months being more or less election time again. It doesn't, to me, make sense for us to be going to a by-election at this point. I'm not willing to support that option.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. I'm in agreement. I think we go to the community and see who's interested in stepping up to fill the job for the next 7 months and appoint someone.
Okay. Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Warden. As Councillor McDonnell's already stated, not in favor of an election. It doesn't make sense due to cost and timelines. And I do like what Councillor Lang is suggesting about going to the community. I think, this has been kind of it's not been the uncertainty hasn't been the most pleasant thing that we've had over the last 6 months, but I think it's been an opportunity for some folks to learn a bit more about, municipal things, municipal act. And I think to try and make the positive out of the negative of the situation, I think opening it up to the community and having more people, look at getting involved, I think that that's a positive that can come out of the situation. And I think, I've looked a little bit about what they've done, in Brockville where they had applications. I thought that seemed like a really positive and transparent way of moving forward that, gets more people involved. And I think that's one of the big, that could be a very good outcome of this.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I agree with the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Lang. I feel at this point, we would be wise to go out and maybe solicit applications. I think this council has been a good proof of people that you wouldn't have expected to see sitting at a council table who have done an excellent job. Two of my council colleagues for sure, and yourself, I believe, when you first ran, maybe, but I think there's some good opportunities for us to go out and maybe get an outlier somewhere, and maybe somebody from the past scheme of candidates who can really impress us. So I think there's some good value to this, and it's not going to cost us anything besides circulating it.
Okay, perfect. Back to you, Councillor Jaworski.
Thank
Deputy
you.
Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, through you, Mayor. No, and to build on what Councillor McDonnell just said about like a process of applications, it can also mean that folks from the past apply as well. So it doesn't eliminate that at all. So I think it makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, so I concur with that. I like the idea. it's not going to be a long time for that individual, whoever decides to come on board for the rest of this term. But I think as Deputy Mayor Jaworski said, this situation has shone a light on municipal politics a little more than maybe some folks have been paying attention. And I think that hopefully some people learn from this whole process and what what the municipal act means and whatnot. So that all being said, Madam Clerk, would you be able to present at our next council meeting kind of a little more outlined of a process if we were decided? It sounds as though council wants to receive applications for the next position of councillor, position number 3. Would you be able to have something to us at our next council meeting as to how that will go about? Because I believe we have 60 days to appoint from today's date.
Yes, that's correct.
And I believe that falls right in line with our February 7th meeting to the day, I believe, correct?
Just about, yeah.
Just about. I was kind of checking on the calendar. So if you could have for us at our next council meeting, just the process for that, and then we can start the process to notify the public on how we're moving forward. And I mean, we're all out and about in the public every day, so we're going to hear from our constituencies and what they would like to see done. So hopefully that report that you have for us at our next council meeting will kind of be very clear, and then the next steps going forward.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, absolutely, I can have that report for council at the December 20th meeting. And as you stated, we do have 60 days to make the appointment. So we'll get on that and get a process ready for you guys to review and get that out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think our council, this council's been great. If a special council meeting is needed, we've always had quorum. So I think if a special meeting in the future, because I believe we just have one meeting in January, so it may trigger us to have a special council meeting on that. One other food for thought before we go for the rest for today. I would like to appoint someone as a county alternate to replace former Councillor Jaworski. Now Deputy Mayor Jaworski, because she will be officially at County Council. So if you could coordinate that with Miss Kimberly, I'm sorry, at the counties, the clerk at the counties, just to make sure that we're on the same page. And I would like the alternate position filled prior to the end of the term as well, if possible.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, absolutely, we'll be able to do that. So there will be a couple more steps in the process. So likely at our meeting on the 20th, I believe, I'm going to have to double check, but I believe you'll have to retake the oath of office, both yourself and Deputy Mayor Jaworski, at which point I would certify those appointments to the county clerk, Ms. Castleman. And then subsequent to that, I would bring a bylaw before our council to appoint an alternate to county council. So it might take a couple of meetings, but
yeah,
we'll get it done.
Yeah, no, I don't foresee it being needed, but it's always good to just have it there. Councillor, when Deputy Mayor Jaworski was always good to fill in for me a couple times in the past when I was not able to attend. So. And it's always great that we still have a voice when one of the normal members are not able to attend. So, Councillor McDonnell, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering if the clerk needed some outline as to where the current council would like to see, or are you just going to bring ideas and we'll play around with it at council as far as going out for applications, just given we're on a 60-day notice, I believe, as of now, correct? So maybe it's worth putting, if there's any ideas we want to go into the application requests I don't know if that's, I'm just thinking, myself, I'm thinking as far as I'm hoping to see some good applications and not just resumes here and there. I'd like to see good letters of request or why they feel they would be an excellent candidate, and maybe something along the lines too, as we put it out, something for Good Roads, that it be a mandatory event for whoever may fill that. We would request that they could make it, because I do feel there's a lot of benefit to that as well. And I don't know when the deadline is for that, as far as if we have to set something up that way.
Through you,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Mayor. So just on a initial thought, we could format the process similar to that when we go out for committee members. So we have a form that they're required to fill out, their relevant experience and of the like. So perhaps what I could do for the December 20th meeting is have a draft, application requirements, like a form, and maybe additional requirements laid out for council. You guys can provide me with some feedback and we can get it out from there. Or if you have feedback today, I can certainly take that.
Yep. Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Jaworski.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Warden. In terms of ideas, like I mentioned earlier, like I'd watched some of the Brockville process, and one thing, they had that application. It seemed rather freeform, but then they had a meeting, a special meeting of council where everyone who had applied also did a short delegation to council on why they thought they would be a good candidate. And I thought that that makes sense. It's a little bit more effort, but I think also it makes, you want it to be a little bit of effort, I think, to participate. So I think I like that approach. And also it was very transparent. Again, like the list of who it was applying. Their applications were also online as well, and then the meeting also was an open meeting. So I thought that was a good approach.
Yep, that's good comments. Councillor Lang, do you have your? Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I like that idea. I like, we all ran in the election. We know what it's like. There is some effort involved in this. And if you get chosen, there's going to be some work and effort ahead of you afterwards too. This isn't as simple a job as maybe some people had let on to me before I ran, but it's very rewarding. And you're going to feel like you're contributing and you're doing something. And I think you are. There's a bit of work to it, but I would encourage people in the community, if they're watching this tonight, to seriously think about it. You don't have to have been, somebody that's been in politics before. Some of us weren't. You just have to be somebody that, loves this community and wants to see it a little better, and, come up with ideas to help and be involved. And I hope people take it seriously and put their name forward. Maybe it'll be a stepping stone to who knows where they're going.
Exactly. I couldn't have said that any better myself, Councillor Lang. So just to recap, Madam Clerk, did we pass the third resolution to appoint option C for the vacant office of councillor number three?
No.
So we do need to do that, correct? Before we end the meeting?
I thought that was kind of the next meeting.
If you've done it for the other two, we should do it for this one as well, I would say.
Okay. So can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaworski. Be it resolved that council proceed with option C and appoint a person who is not a current member of council to the office of councillor. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. There you go, Madam Clerk. Now you have clear direction. And if that basically gives you direction to proceed with what we just had the conversation of. And I really like the idea that Deputy Mayor Jaworski brought up in regards to our neighbors down the road and the application process. And Councillor Lang spoke well about, we'd like to see a slew of people, and it's there's a lot of work that goes on at this table and there's a lot of work that people don't realize. And but every one of us at this table, I think, loves doing what we're doing, and we're certainly starting to see some fruits of our labor, if you will. So with that being said, I believe we are done with today's meeting. Is there anything else? Is there any other comments for members of council? Councillor Lang?
Yes, just to congratulations to you, Lyle and Stephanie. I know you're going to do a good job and have been doing a good job up to now. So congratulations, and look forward to moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor McDonnell?
I'll just echo what Councillor Lang said. I'd like to thank the both of you for stepping up over the last 6 months, especially, and doing what you've been doing. And I think it's rightfully so that you continue doing that work, and I'll continue to appreciate it and all the help you do at counties.
Thank you for those kind words. I see Mr. CAO has popped his head up. Would you like to speak, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And congratulations to both you and Deputy Mayor Jaworski. I also want to thank Clerk Compo for the work she's done this week. I mean, it's been double duty. We had a council meeting on Monday night, and you know, we have a lot in the queue with regular work we're doing. I want to personally thank her, and on your behalf as well. I'm sure you want to thank her for the great work she's done this week.
Absolutely. Not just this week, this term. I know she was away for a little while, but we're very happy to have you at the helm, Kelly. And we're very thankful for the work that you do. Anytime I text you, you're always quick to return my messages. And the clerk's job is just as important as the CAO's job.
Can I quote you on that?
Sometimes more.
Just having, yes, exactly. We're just having a little fun here. So thank you again to all of my colleagues at this table. I'll echo what Deputy Mayor Jaworski had said at the outset of this term. You know, if he would have said I'd be sitting here today, I would have laughed. So, but here we are. We do have a duty to our residents, and I want to thank this council for being probably the best, most proactive council that I've seen in our municipality, and I'm very proud to be part of that team. And I'm looking forward to 2022 and moving forward with, as Clerk Compo said, we have a lot in the queue, and we have a lot to get done, and I think we're all up for that task. So that being said, Deputy Mayor Jaworski, did you want to say a few words before we close up the meeting?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to say something. Thank you to Ms. Campo once again for all the excellent work you've done, and thank you to my colleagues for your vote of support. And I look forward to us continuing the good work that we have done thus far and knocking things off our strategic plan. So thank you.
100%. Great. Thank you. Any other comments before I get to the resolutions? Okay, moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Martin Lang. Be it resolved that bylaw 102-2021, being a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm matters dealt with by resolution, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 9th day of December 2021. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you. And the final motion, be it moved by Martin Lang, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry adjourn to the call of the chair at 5:15 p.m. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Thank you all for coming out to this special council meeting, and we look forward to seeing you at our next regular council meeting, which will be the 20th of December at 7 p.m. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.